I'm Hayley Ringrose, I'm 20 and I'm a paranormal investigator in Stoke Haunted.
Okay, we're going to talk about protection, particularly in the field of paranormal investigation. Members of the audience, do you have any questions before we begin? No? Oh no, because you've all done it before. That's fair enough. Basically, when we talk about protection, it's obviously not anything that you should take not seriously. It's one of those things that in the field that can depend on the quality of your investigation, of course, what happens to you during an investigation. If you're a sensitive or a medium, protection is definitely very important to you because it's your first line and your last line of defense with whatever's trying to communicate with you, if anything. There are a lot of pleasant entities out there, there are a lot of nice beings, angels, healers, ascended masters, nice relatives that have come back to visit us, etc. And you think, well, why do I need protection from them? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. They might have a heavy emotional weight that they want to portray to you, but it gets too extreme. Sometimes you can't handle it. You start feeling emotions that they feel, and then you feel dizzy, ill, sick, because you want to cry, etc. It has been known. We've on occasion had things happen where some people become emotionally distraught spontaneously. It's rather interesting. On the flip side, there are some not so nice entities out there that generally just want to play with you from a mischievous sense, not in anything seedy, or it can be seedy. It's entirely up to them. They're very unique, as much as everyone else is. And the way that they operate in terms of attack, which is what the protection mainly focuses on, is that they will make you feel like they want you to feel, or as though you are their puppet, or yeah, thanks for that. Pretty much as though that they want to distract you from your original goal. In terms of investigation, negative entities don't like you finding out things about them. That's been known. So on occasion they'll try to make you feel very strange, scared, as though you're being watched, as though you're being touched, pushed around, negative, moody, aggressive. Any of the negative emotions that you could feel, they can make you feel, and sometimes amplified too. So it's a good idea to be careful when investigating. How you may wonder, well, there are two types of application. Tonight we're going to look at the difference between what psychic and spiritual mean, because there is a different, you get people out there saying, I'm a psychic, I'm a medium, I'm a spiritualist medium, I'm a spiritualist, I'm a psychic art, I do spiritual art, and you think, some of the lay people would say, why are they not all the same thing? Well, they're not. There is a distinct difference. We're also going to look at how responsibility affects everybody. Everybody has their own responsibility to protect themselves, just as they are walking down the street and not to be mugged or whatever. It's the same in the paranormal world. It's your business. You have to protect yourself. When you rely on somebody else and they fail, what are you going to do? It becomes a bit difficult. We're also going to look at the difference between belief and visualization. You can't protect yourself without visualizing how protection works for you. And I can bet every single one of you will have a slightly different way of protecting yourself and a slightly different way of applying that visualization technique. But in the same respect, it can be the most vivid visualization you've ever come across, but unless you believe it, it's going to mean absolutely nothing to you. And to whatever's going to attack you, it'll just laugh at you and carry on doing its nasty work. We're also going to look at how to set up a protection field from around you or around your environment, and that can be as big as small as you like, and how that's going to benefit you, what it's going to do for you and your team members. And we're also going to look at what we call energy centers, often called chakra for want of a better word. It's an old Sanskrit word meaning wheel or turning. And all of your energy centers, we'll get to it later, but they all work in a circular and spiral fashion. So it's important to know about those and why spirits will attack certain ones. And we're also going to look at if you think you're being attacked, then how to know. Some people report a strange sensation on top of the head. Some people report cold feet. That happens to me a lot when spirits are getting close to me or they want to let me know that they're not happy with me being there, etc. they all have their own ways and means of letting you know that you're being, for want of a better word, messed with. Okay, moving on. Psychic, on screen there. Psychic is everything that you're thinking about now and everything everybody else is thinking about, and how those thoughts as one person, as a group, connect. It could be two thoughts, love and hate. It could be personal issues that you'd have with other people out in the world, etc. If you think something now, you are in effect in your mind bringing it into being. That's what we call a psychic construction. For argument's sake, if you want to imagine a red dot, it doesn't mean much other than a red dot, and then somebody will say, it looks like a strawberry. All of a sudden it turns into a strawberry. You are bringing that strawberry into being. That's what we call psychic construction, and it's what we're going to use as the basis for your net, if you will, your safety net, the way that you construct your protection field around yourself. It's the first stage of doing it, and it's an interesting exercise. As soon as you learn to use your imagination when you're a child, that's how psychic constructs begin. It also works in a magical sense. If anybody practices anything magical in Wicca, etc., visualization and construction is one of those things that is inherent to making things work. The other thing I want to talk about is spiritual. You get people saying that they are spiritual, or they have like a spiritual approach to life, or they are a spiritualist, or they are a spiritualist medium, etc. The word spiritual applies anything that's beyond our conscious thought. So you could have a psychic thought now and think of what we determined was a strawberry. And from a spiritual perspective, that would be looking in on the strawberry. That's everything on the outside and above us. People talk about spiritual experiences. They talk about spiritual beliefs. It's generally a belief or a thought that's beyond what you are now. You are here in reality as a human being, hopefully, unless there's any aliens watching. But you are here now. This is reality, and that's the construct of where you are. Spiritual is anything outside it that connects with what we call reality. And that's all I've got to say on spiritual matters for now. If we move on. Moving on to responsibility. Moving over to the audience, does anybody feel that they have more or less responsibility than anybody else? Particularly when you're in circles or seances, engaging in divination, in vigils, etc. They will naturally want to protect everybody else because they have more of an ability to do that. It's more practiced. But the buck stops with you. If anything wants to attack you, yes, mediums like myself and other members of the group can help you. But if you're not willing to put up a fight yourself, we may as well give up. Other than that, team has a responsibility as well, which is why we're engaging in this workshop at the moment. I know before when we covered the workshop in its infancy that we felt there was issues with the team and they weren't treating responsibility seriously. I'll tell you here and now that it's probably one of the most serious things to do is protect yourself. It all comes down to when you were a child in the schoolyard and that you had somebody who took a disliking to you because you had a different colour pair of trainers or you had a pink pencil or whatever it is. And you learn to stand up for yourself. You tell them, well, it's my pink pencil, so what, go away. You'd probably go and tell someone of authority if it got any more serious, which is generally what happens with the mediums. But the analogy is no different. There are a lot of psychic and, I hate to use the word spiritual, bullies out there that will make your life a little bit difficult, particularly when you go to haunted places or that have odd energy, or people have been engaging in rituals, etc., that are less than savoury. Stuff can linger, but those are the bullies of the psychic and spiritual world, and you've got to learn to stand up to them. Related to this is belief. I mean, some people have this attitude that, take for example curses, if you don't believe you're cursed, then you're not cursed. To a certain extent that's true. If there is a spiritual entity that's trying to attack you, if you don't pay too much attention to it, if you don't give any energy to it, either in the thought construct where the strawberry is, then it can't have too much of an influence over you. That's strictly true, because your mind is where it all happens. It's where the magic happens. It's where everything constructs itself. In the same respect, it's your biggest vulnerability, because they can use your mind against you. They can make you imagine things that you wouldn't normally. A thought that's not your own is particularly dangerous, as mediums in development will discover. The other thing is visualization, as we covered with the construct before. It's incredibly important that you, as a person, learn to imagine more. Creative people who paint, draw, play a musical instrument, sew, design clothing, etc., will be more averse to visualizing things. They have like an ideal plan in their mind to what they want to create. That's ideal for them, but you may ask yourself, if I'm not creative, I can't even draw a stick man, then how can I imagine something that isn't there, that I don't entirely believe? It's all about self-confidence and how you apply yourself. If you believe something, I don't know, that Jedi is your focus for religion, then that's fine. If you anchor whatever beliefs you have to a visualization, say a knight standing in front of you wearing armor, or 10,000 of them, or just a pillar of white light that nothing can get in, then in that respect nothing can get in, but you've got to believe it. It's one of those things that you can't avoid. If you don't believe it, it's your biggest vulnerability. Having no faith is worse than having faith in something. And faith is unique, or belief or faith or whatever you want to call it, is unique to each and every one of you. I believe something that I don't think anybody else will. Just the same as members of the audience will have their own set of beliefs that, I don't know, say typically Christian or Jewish or Muslim or Taoist. They all have their own focus for belief. And I think it's important that you find that. I'm not saying you should go out and find God or a religion or whatever. Just stand true to what you believe in. It could be a principle. It could be a strawberry. It doesn't really matter, as long as you believe it. There's two elements mainly to protection that I want to focus on, and one is more important than the other. For argument's sake, if you learn to put up the most invincible shield that you could ever think of and anything could ever come into contact with, that's great. But if you're not grounded with it, if you don't have any foundation for it to anchor to, aside from belief, then it's going to be the most useless shield, because you just float away, metaphorically, to a place you've never been found before, and you're lost. Protected, but lost. And finding your way back would be rather difficult. We've all seen the film Insidious, where a boy learns to astral project. He gets too familiar and far, and then all of a sudden he goes to sleep one day and can't get back. In the meantime, something very nasty is holding him prisoner, and he's stuck in some grotesque world that he has no hope of getting out of. It's a bit of an extreme example, but they portray this as one of the dangers of the paranormal world. You can easily get lost, and things can easily help you to be guided away and easily be lost as well. Lots of clicking in the background. It's interesting. So grounding is essentially very important. It's, if I liken it to electronics, every plug that you put in the socket, well, in the UK, I don't know about the Americans, I don't know whether you have an earth wire, but we'll have what's called an earth wire, and if the circuit cuts out, any of the residual energy in the circuit gets thrown to the earth channel and diffused. That's generally what's going to happen to your protection field if it's ever attacked and you're successfully grounded. Most of the energy that's going to attack you isn't going to affect your field or you at all. It's just going to be routed out through our very own earth wire. So even if you have, I hear it too, if we have minimal protection or minimal energy for protection, then you're still going to have a very powerful grounding to absorb most of the brunt of any attack. I'm going to run through that now, so that's fine. If you want to engage in grounding and protection just before our investigation, it's ideal. What I want you to do then is to close your eyes, if you can. Get comfortable, because part and parcel of grounding is being very comfortable. And I want you to raise your hand when you're ready. The guys who are filming obviously are going to have have difficulty doing this, but we can do that after. Okay, what I want you to do is close your eyes and imagine that you are standing in a field. It's a nice field. There might be cows and sheep on the horizon. There might be a bunny rabbit here and there hopping around. There's a gentle breeze, and there are a few flowers, little buttercups, and maybe a dandelion or two in the grass. Don't worry, you're not going to like the bit. And I want you to imagine that you're barefoot, and this grass is really soft. And I want you to take a deep breath in and smell that grass. Just have that memory of fresh grass that's first thing in the morning when the dew's landed on it. What I want you to do is look down at your toes. Okay, some of you might like your feet, some of you might not. That's by the by. What I want you to do is imagine from your toes and from the soles of your feet, I want you to imagine roots, as in a plant or a tree, growing out through your toes and through the bottom of your feet into the ground. The ground's soft, there's wet grass, so you needn't worry about that. I just want them to dig down into the grass. And further down into the grass, through the soil, and the roots getting thicker and stronger and wider. So the roots have reached the edge of the field now, going deeper and deeper and deeper. Wider still, down further, so the ground gets more solid and warmer as it goes through. And the roots breaking through this earth and being unable to be pulled out by anything, not even a digger or anything else. And further down still, I want you to imagine that the roots break through the earth's crust and down into the earth's core where it's red. And I want you to imagine this red like molten fire, for want of a better word, and they make the roots grow and glow red and warmer, and all the way up through the roots. I want you to imagine that this warm light and heat goes up all the way through the roots, through the earth, and into your feet. Now what I want you to imagine is your feet are glowing nice and red and warm and cosy, and that you're not going anywhere. Now I want you to imagine looking as you are at yourself from above, from space, and you are one person on this big planet that you are anchored to by these roots. So effectively you're now a tree, you're growing out of this earth, and nothing's going to move you. Now I'd like you to open your eyes. Can't. Stuck. Good. Okay, does anybody else feel different, strange, relaxed, calm? It's very relaxed. It's like you've got your feet in a sleeping bag and it's very warm and etc. Now what I want to talk about is your protection field. Now you're grounded, you can safely establish a protection field. What I'm going to use is a visualization that uses your energy centers, or for want of a better word, chakra, that highlights them all, energizes them all, and strengthens a protection field around you. So if you're ready, we'll set that up now. What I'd like you to do again is put your feet flat on the ground, so you're just reminded of these roots. And trust me, they aren't going anywhere. And I want you to close your eyes once more. Now you're back in that field. Well, you haven't gone anywhere, so that's all right. And your feet are nice and toasty red from the energy from the earth. And you've got those roots below you and they're not going anywhere. Now what I'd like you to do is move that red light up through your feet into your ankles. That deep red moving up very slowly and warming the rest of you. Up towards your knees. Gently moving upwards. Until it reaches roughly your waist. Now what I'd like you to do is a band around your waist. I'd like it to shine orange. So from the red, just brighten it a little. Your feet are still red, your legs are still red. Just this area is orange. And that red light from your feet, I'd like it to glow brighter and brighter until it gets hotter and hotter. Until it glows white. And I'd like you to do the same with the orange band around your waist. Brighter and brighter and brighter until it matches the same colour white. Move the white light upward from your waist until it reaches roughly your belly button area. Just a little higher. And I'd like you to have a yellow band around that area of your body, please. Bright yellow as the sun could be. Or as a sunflower or a daffodil. Brighter, glowing brighter. Until it becomes that white light that you're bringing up. Up further still. I would like that yellow light that's become white to move upward towards your chest. Now somewhere in the middle of your chest, I'd like that light to be green, please. Just a band of green. Like an emerald green, or as green as the grass in the field you sowed with. I'd like you to focus on that green for a second. And make it brighter. And brighter green. And brighter still until it becomes that white. Take that white light and further up still. Up through your chest and around your shoulders. Up towards roughly where your Adam's apple is, that area of the throat. And I'd like you to imagine around that area a sky blue colour. I want you to focus on it and feel calm when you see that blue, as though you're looking up at the sky or the ocean. And make that blue light brighter, please. And brighter. Brighter until it becomes white. Continue to move the white light upwards, up towards your forehead. Now I'd like you to imagine a navy blue, almost purple colour. I'd like you to make it brighter and brighter until it becomes white, joining with the rest of the light. And move the light upwards still until it reaches the top of your head. And I'd like you to imagine a purple colour, like an amethyst crystal or a bright purple flower. I'd like that colour to glow brighter and brighter, please. And brighter still. until it becomes white. Now I'd like you to take that white light that's around you now, from bottom to top, and I'd like you to push it outwards, about 2 or 3 feet away from you, all around you. And I'd like you to imagine that white light being the brightest ever thing you've ever seen, and that it's the purest thing you've ever seen. And that nothing can touch it except you. Now I'd like that white light to just fade into the background, as though it becoming transparent, and keep allowing it to fade until it becomes invisible. When the light has become invisible, I'd like you to put your hand up. Okay, I'd like you to open your eyes, please. I've forgotten where I was now. Sorry, it's kind of daft uphill. What I want to talk about now is when we set up the protection field, we focused on various areas of the body and different colours, and they are what we would associate with what we call chakra. Chakra is an old Sanskrit word, Sanskrit being an ancient language, which means wheel or turning, but it refers to an energy centre, and it's not particularly on the body or in the body, it's part of the auric field that's around the body. And as we did in the meditation, I'm going to work our way up and explain why we highlighted those and made them white. Generally, what we did is focus on each energy centre and then using the white light purify them so that the shield becomes the purest thing. Anything negative won't really come near it because it will be... The only danger is that if you do feel down or vulnerable, then you will be vulnerable. It's all about your mental state, it's all about staying positive. If you feel as though you're being interfered with or attacked, then it's advisable to remember those energy centres and the white light and project it out again. That shouldn't be an issue. If you do feel you have to remove yourself from the environment, by all means do so. Take somebody with you, make sure you're okay, get a drink of water, have a smoke, whatever works for you. What I would like to point out from the energy centres is, from the ground we call that the root chakra, which is why we used roots as an analogy for the grounding, and it's the base for your auric field or your energy centre. It's red, so it's easily seen in nature. Anything that's red can't be ignored, and it's the same with that part of your auric field. It's the first point of attack for most entities, or the first point of attachment, should I say. That's the place that they will go with first. Being grounded stops that from happening. You've energized that area, you've cleansed it, it's part of you. You're not going anywhere, it's not a vulnerability for you. It's the most primal area of your energy centre as well, so it gives way to your most primal set of emotions, which could be fear, anger, passion, anything you associate with red, and of course danger for everybody else. If anybody's in a bad mood, they call it a red mood sometimes. And you'll find that often they'll stand the ground, they won't move when the people are angry, they don't become animated. That's the same for spirits too, for the most part. What I'd like to do is move upwards. Great, okay. The next energy centre I want to talk about is what we call the sacral chakra, and that emphasises mainly on more impulsive urges or addictive personalities. I'm not saying that any of you guys watching or listening here now have addictive personalities, but spirits that have more of an obsessive approach or they have an obsessive thought or goals, will generally attack that energy center, and it applies to a sexual need as well. What we call negative spirits that have more of a sexual desire. It has been noted, particularly around Ouija boards more than anything, and suggested to do sexual things. You'll generally feel a strange sensation in that area. Oddly enough, it's where your privates are too, so it's good to be aware of these things. If you do feel any sensations in that area, I mean, I know we've been on investigations before where people feel strange things in the stomach or further down or whatever. It's worth noting that you may be being interfered with, for want of a better word. I really shouldn't be going in there, should I? Never mind. Moving upwards, we talk about the solar plexus chakra, and we give that colour yellow, obviously because solar meaning sun. Shall I stop? Yeah, the solar plexus chakra is yellow as we moved up in the meditation, and it's called that because it's the most energizing section of your auric field, and it's all about willpower, personal power, determination, all of those positive aspects that you could associate with. It's not happening, is it?
No.